This gets your attention, doesn't it? But now that I've got your attention, it's time for a little introduction. So my name is Tony Donachie, and you'll need to know that if you want to order a copy of my book, We Don't Recover, We Get Better, which is on sale at Waterstone and Amazon. But we'll come to that. So what's this all about? Why am I making content? Well, I was an active drug addict for over 2 decades, and I got clean 10 years ago. When I went through the whole process of getting clean, I could not accept the fact that addiction was a disease. The whole 12-step ideology that I was powerless and not in control of my choices in some way. The whole adverse experiences, unresolved trauma idea made much more sense to me, and that became ever more apparent as I went through the process. Because since then, I've been diagnosed with complex PTSD because of unresolved childhood trauma. I've also been diagnosed with a hormone imbalance called hypogonadism, which basically means underactive testicles. My body doesn't produce enough testosterone. It also produces an abundance of estrogen, which leads to gender confusion, all of which contribute to my addictive behaviours. However, I'm all about personal accountability, and I believe, regardless of what genetic precursors there might be or contributing factors, addicts, including myself, should be held accountable for their choices, and that's the only way they'll change. And while I was going through the process of change, I found that martial arts and yoga were massively beneficial, not just as new behaviours, but as forms of creative and emotional expression. And I'm delighted to announce that after all this time, putting all that effort into research and understanding myself and addiction, I've written a book explaining from my own perspective why I believe addiction cannot be classified as a disease and why addicts should be held accountable for their own choices. Now, I know a former heroin addict coming out to social media and stating outright that he doesn't believe addiction can be classified as a disease and that addicts should be held accountable for their own choices. That's one of the reasons I'm making so much content. If I want to say something as contentious as that, I need to back it up. I need evidence that my theories, my ideologies, and my approach to life work, at least for me. But also, if my journey's taught me anything, it's that I'm no special. So if these things work for me and help me, they might help somebody else. They just need a bit of encouragement, and that's pretty much why I'm here. So if you do feel kind enough to order a copy of my book, We Don't Recover, We Get Better, you'll find it, as I said, Waterstones, Amazon, other retailers. Thank you so much for watching.